center. I want to turn it on about 500 RPM. And when drilling it out, you need to clear it often. If you don't clear it, eventually that will get clogged up and it'll go off center. And it'll start wobbling on you, which you don't really want, especially at the other end. Hear that sound? One fix is to put a little bit of wax on it. I think I lost my mark. That should be there. All right. Now that we got the hole, now comes the fun part. Rounding it over. Everybody has a problem doing this. This is why I go to my trusty. This is my MIDI hollowing #1 tool. It's got the small CI5 tip on it, and I will say that it's my go-to tool. I carry about 3 of these in my armory. I've got this up to about 22 RPM. I'm going to start right here. This is why I have my lines. I'm going to start right here on the edge. And it doesn't hurt to have a live center. For a while. What a lot of people do is they'll take this and just kind of go round this over. What you need to do is you got to kind of go in at an angle to get that round over. If not, you're just going to go round over here, kind of causing a semi-bead. You can see how flat this is, and we're round here, but that's not what we want. We want it completely round. I'm not taking very big bites. Let's go to the other side. This is my favorite side. That's sarcasm. This is my weak side. Now, there's one way to find out just how round this is, which I can see where it's not going to be very round just yet, is using this. We use it here, we're right. Now we use it here to see where I've got to take it off. And if you all can see where I need to take it off. right about in here. A little bit here. Okay, can we see where I still need to take it off? This is why I take this side down so far. I take it down as far as I can so I get this thing down where I can see my space. I still need to take off some on that edge. So now comes the time where I won't use my tailstock. I'm not touching it very hard. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. I'm letting the tool do the work. Pretty close. Now, this is where sandpaper comes in. It's always nice to be able to not have to use sandpaper. So I'll start with the 80 grit, and I'm going to start shaping it. I use it to shape it. So once I get it the way I want it, then you can kind of go through the different grits. I'm just going to go to 120 and 220. I love this sandpaper. Yes. Honestly, this sandpaper is amazing. No, this Abernet is something you can wash out, and it does last for a long time.
The nice thing, if you use a 100 grit, you use it long enough, it ends up being a 240 grit.
That's true. That's true. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this down to about 500 RPM. And we're going to use some Yorkshire grit. Now, Yorkshire grit, this is the coarse. You can use this. It's what they call liquid sandpaper. So you can take your project or take your sanding down to about, like I did, 220. And by using this, you'll have it, when you get through it, it'll be 400 grit, 600 grit. Rub it in.
And that'll have no effect on the finish that's put.
Very good. As long as you get it all off, it won't.
Take quite a few of the sanding scratches out of it.
Yes, that's what it's for. So what I do now, I've got it on. really, you let this sit for about 5 minutes. You give it a chance for it to soak in a little bit to your wood, and then you'll turn it on, and then we'll go ahead and you'll take a nice clean cloth, paper towel, and you just start rubbing it off. And you take it, you rub it until you have no more stuff on your towel. It comes out clean. Almost there.
Works as a rubbing compound to get a scratch marks out.
Yes. Now, I'm going to go to what they call the micro. This takes it down to about 1,000. 1,000 grit. And by the time you get through with this, it'll be as smooth as a baby's backside. Put on the same way. You let it set for about 5 minutes again. Let it soak in. You get that grit that soaks into the pores, and then you can buff it out. Do it the same way you did with the coarse. Now, before we get ready to hollow out, you always decorate the outside of your ornament first. And the reason is, if you hollow it out and you go too deep with your decoration, you just cut it off. And so normally, when I decorate mine, I would take mine for a wall thickness of about 3/16, a quarter to 3/16 in wall thickness. There we have it. And now you can tell if you want to feel it. I'm sure glad that hit me on my toe with the wood end. Now, we're going to decorate this a little bit. Easy Wood has come out with beading tools. They're awesome, and they have a negative rake on it, easy to use, and so again, you keep it level, and as you stick it in, you get your points, and you start to move it just a little bit. You wiggle it a little bit and push in until you get to the top of that crest up here. That's when you know you have a bead and it's finished. Anything any deeper than that, and you'll tear up your bead. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this thing up to about 2,000, 2,200 RPM. Well, I guess 20. Oh, how about 25? Do I hear 25? Do I hear? I hear 25. So gently stick it in. Wiggle it a little bit. There's one bead. And as you stick it in gently, and you try to make it as straight as possible. Again, just wiggle it gently back and forth until you see that bead form. which I have right there. Now, that right there is an 1/8 inch bead. And that came out just right. I like it. Now, we get to have some fun. And we're going to try the hollowing, our hollowing skills. I want to try to take this down to about 3/16. I don't want any thicker than 1/4 inch. You want to keep your Christmas ornament as light as possible. It's going to hang on your tree. So, I do mark my tools. So I've got this one marked to where it comes just short of the hole on this side over here. I've got it marked with this. Now I can take this and I can go in a reverse direction and clean it out this way, or I can come over here and do it this way. Once I get as far as I can get with this straight one, then I will take my 45 degree and clean out the rest of it from about right here to about right here. Then that's where this comes into play. This comes right around and it cleans out this area right here. One thing I didn't discuss earlier, which I probably should have, is when you're making the hole, using these tools, I would advise that you make your hole no less than 5/8 in diameter. And the reason is because the thickness of these, if you made it a 1/2 inch, which I like, it would be difficult to get in here and have control with it. Okay? Also, when you're using this, you take light cuts. People who take those heavy cuts, they're going to get into trouble with it. And that's with any kind of hollowing tool. You don't want this to turn over, so just take light cuts. And I'm going to just experiment, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about going in reverse. Everything you do here is feel. You got to feel the inside of this ornament. Gently. You're going to get that squealing. That's going to happen.
That's your question?
Uh-huh.
The 45 and the 90 degree, you can't use those in the reverse direction, can you?
No. No. So I'm going to turn around now and go the other way with it. Gently. When you hear that noise, I'm back in here, right here. That's why you're hearing that noise. You're going against the end grain. Now let's go with the 45. Oh, well, let's clear this out now. There's a couple of ways you can clear this out. At home, I use a blower. But since I don't have a blower here for a compressor, that'll clear it out. Now I want to use the 45 degree. This is the one, when you start using the 45 and the 90 degree, you really got to be careful with them. Gently. Take light cuts. Now I'm going to take the 45 or the 90 degree and we'll get around this corner. This is the one you really have to be careful with. It's big compared to this hole, and you take it in from the side. Excuse me. Little bites. I mean, I can feel it trying to take off on me. So now you see why. That was part of the demonstration, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted y'all to see that.
Got ours,
So you don't do that.
got ours,
A little too low. Now think what that would be like if you had a half-inch hole. Okay. Now, let's try this again. Now we're going to see what our wall thickness is. And that's the other thing, probably that caused that to happen, is that I didn't clear it out, the debris. You need to clear out the debris often. So I've got this is my tool. I'm going to check I've got this marked off in 1/8 and 1/4 inch. Right now that's about a 1/2 inch. And there I'm about 3/8, 5/8. Or you can measure it this way. You get the same thing. If you can't afford one of these, then you have this tool. I keep my space here at 1 inch. 1 inch. So that way when I measure in here and I measure my wall, it says 1/2 inch. So I know my wall thickness is 1/2 inch. Mike, I think you asked me a little earlier about You asked me a little earlier about this 45 degree.
Yeah.
If you could take it all the way back, and it's hard to take it all the way back because you've got to keep it at an angle like this. And so when it grabs back here, it takes it with you. So that's why you need that straight one or something straight. I think I like taking it off, dusting it off. Stuff hits me in the face. Just all you got to do is think about when you put it back on. Is it straight? And if it's not, you bring up your tailstock into your hole, and you make it that way. Straighten it out. Okay. Okay. Again, take a look at it. See what we got here. And all I did was I used a. Okay. Now, if you were to look at it, instead of being on that 1/2 inch, it's at almost a 3/4 level, which means my wall thickness is 1/4 of an inch. Or, like I said, I have these marked off. The little ticks right there are 1/8 inch, and the other ones are 1/4 inch. And I'm at a 1/4 inch. So that thing works pretty good.
What brand is that measuring device?
Huh?
What brand is that?
You get it at Craft Supply. I don't.
Craft Supply.
Yeah, that's the only one. That's the only ones that sell that I know of. I can't think of the name of it. I'm just about where I want to be with it. I can feel it, Mike, trying to take me back in the back. I'm trying to do that, you know, where a straight cut goes back in the back. I can feel it trying to take it. Take my tool. Gently take this thing out, or you'll end up doing what I just got through doing a little while ago. You do a dance with it. Okay. I like it when it turns perfect like that, true round. Isn't that nice? All right, one last thing. I'll check it out one more time. This should be where I am, except for right here. And that's where I am. It's always better to go in this way. When you're going down deep, you go in this way because it'll be a true measurement. Okay, now I'm going to gently use this again. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we get the excitement.
Do I need to move?
We'll see if I get the excitement again. Oh, the other thing I'll do is check to make sure it's not loose. Okay. I think we're where we got to be. Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes. That's perfect. I'm a little nervous to even get even deeper than that. But that's perfect right there. If you're at home, always clear these things out. It'll keep. What happened to me was I got so much debris in there that it got caught up with my tool. Just a while ago, while I did the dance, that's what was happening. Okay, now we're going to get ready to cut this thing off. I left myself a lot of room in here so I can take it off with my parting tool. Now, one thing to remember, when you're cutting this off, if you keep it under 1,000 RPM, this thing won't come flying out at you. Like when you cut it off, if you want to cut it off with this. If not, I take a saw and cut it off. So I want to turn it down to less than 1,000 RPM because I don't need it, because I've almost got it ready to cut off. There we are. Now we're going to make a jam chuck. I just so happen to have, I just made it so quick. But I want to make one just so you all see this.
I always save my end blocks like that for things.
For this, you betcha. Okay, this is about a 1/2 inch long, so we're going to make this in about a 1/2 inch long. You've already got that on there, so let's use it.
Make it 5/8 inches diameter.
Pretty much. First thing I want to do, I'm a caliper person. Take my calipers, I want to measure my hole. It's 5/8. I want to take it up a little bit. I'm at 11/16. So make it a 1/2 inch. And it doesn't have to be a 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to be perfect. When I use this roughing tool, it's better to go in with half of it than with the full part of it, okay? It cuts better. Gently. That's my primary cut. Now let's just check it, see how it works. It should be too big for this, which it is. So now I'm only going to take a small part of this and fit it to the hole to my ornament. See, and that's the reason why you do that. This is too big. So now I know not to take it down that far. Okay, a little bit more. This takes time, takes patience. Don't rush it. Okay. Just remember, you can always take wood off, but you can't put it back on. And it wouldn't hurt to be a little bit of a taper. And you also have to be careful not to get it too tight or it'll break your ornament. So don't force it. Got it. So now what I want to do, I'm going to take my finisher. Put this on. Bring up my tailstock. We'll center it. I think I'll use this one. And don't push it on hard. Now, I'm going to take my detail gouge. And gently, this is all the support you have. Gently. That's the only support you have. Well, we look at it this way. If everything went perfect, how would you know? How would you know to correct it? Right? Did you? That ought to work good. Okay. Oh. That little booger's gone.
Let me ask you something, Jesse.
Sure.
That part right there, rather than approaching that from the side, if you turn that around and come from the end and put pressure on the end, would that help?
Let's see here. Probably. So let's just say we'll treat this like it was too big. Well, I guess it's not going to work for me. I think it broke. Oh well.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of the whole project.
Keep it from breaking.
You know what?
I got it too thin.
Well, let me ask you a question.
But there's a way to fix that.
Could a person take a disc sander and just put it up against there gently
You-
and sand that
you-
end mostly off?
Yes, you could. I'll fix that here in a minute.
That'll all be covered up by the base of the finial
Yeah.
anyway, right?
It'll be covered. Yeah. Okay. So.
Good heavy grit sandpaper comes in good.
Mm-hmm. So let's see what I got here. And there. Okay.
Crack,
Yeah, we got it cracked right here. But that's why we have to.
that's why you got CA glue.
That's why you have CA glue. I hate to lose this because this is a nice one.
This is where the recipient needs to realize how fortunate they are they get something like that. Because it's not easy to do those things.
It is not. So we'll let that sit for a minute.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, in New Yankee Workshop, you watch Norm make stuff, you didn't see these kind of moments because it's all edited out. There's
Yeah.
a lot more to it than people
That's
realize.
right.
And I don't care how good you are.
There we go.
That was real smooth right there.
Yeah.
Something's gonna go wrong, it will.
But I like to see, I like people to see what goes wrong.
Yeah, big faces.
Yeah.
they
Well, they
can
appreciate
See how to
it
fix
more.
it.
do it big faces. You mean, I can't imagine how many things that could go wrong.
Justin, I'll show you later. We can't find an officer. You almost caught it.
Did I? Huh?
These chairs are getting hard.
I got plenty of padding. I was gonna move it over, my foot wouldn't hit the leg of the tripod. Big feet like that, you can always jump.
Hey, Billy. All righty. By the time I get it all through, it'll all be as one piece. Okay.
It's not a whistle, man.
Now, let's make the finials. Maybe we have a little bit better luck with that.
They're a little easier.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'd like to stay, but I gotta get.
Well, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you coming, man.
Well, I enjoyed it. I learned something today.
Thank you.
Good to get to know you, Mike.
Gerald, good to see you again, man.
We'll come to our meeting too, this fellow, Central Oklahoma Wood Turning Association, he's gonna give a demonstration.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's gonna demonstrate how to
Where
make
y'all
those
have that?
flowers.
Where y'all have that at?
Down there, south on Bryant, 40.
Metro Tech.
Metro Tech,
I never
technology
can-
center up
yeah, I
on
can't
Bryant,
remember the
south
name
of
of it.
44.
Yeah, it's there 6:30 Tuesday night, you oughta come see us.
Yeah, I think I've been
I
there.
think that guy a while ago, Pat, I think he's gonna go and I'm bringing a friend.
Yeah.
And the guy that I used to work for, Red Carpet Charter, Jeff Posey, he always comes.
Okay.
Well, Jesse, I gotta run.
All right, Mike. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Gerald, good to see you again. Take care. Jesse, thank you, sir.
Take care. Take care, man.
I'll see you
See you later, buddy.
All right, you too.
Okay, thanks.
What kind of wood you working with there, Jay?
Okay, this right here, I'm going to make this out of walnut. I made the Christmas ornament out of maple.
Am I too close?
No, if you don't mind getting hit.
Yeah, knock my big nose off.
This is walnut. Had a friend of mine give this to me, and it's off of not a shotgun, but a gun stock.
Hey, Jesse, can we move this camera like a little bit closer over the...
Sure. I'll let you. What do you?
We just need a couple more so we get the totality of the...
Oh, okay. Get it? See when?
Right there.
Okay.
Perfect. For those watching, being patient.
Okay. Again, we're going to go back to our roughing tool. I'm going to put a tenon on this. Okay, that's got it. Now I want to show you just how versatile this chuck is. Several times when I was turning, when I was a little bit younger, it seemed like I'd have to change out these jaws, and you have to screw them in and out. With this easy wood, you don't have to do that. So what I used to have to do to keep from having to unscrew them all the time, I think I had about 10 chucks. Each one had a different set of jaws on them. Now, with these, I only have one chuck, and I've got several jaws that I've purchased with it. And all you do is pop them on. So people think that this jaw is expensive. And if you look at the price on it, it might be. But if you think about how many chucks you'd have to purchase in order to have all your jaws on there to keep from having to unscrew them all the time, it seems to be a little bit cheaper now. When I first bought this jaw, this chuck, I was pretty hesitant. I thought that the cost was a little bit out of my price range, but then, after using it, that's all I use. So I've got several chucks that I don't use anymore. I will say that this MIDI hollower is an awesome tool. Now I'll take my small detail gouge. This is the mini, a little bit shorter. The reason it makes that noise is because I don't have a lot of support. And it's causing a lot of chatter. This detail gouge is awesome.
Okay?
Mhm. Hey, Sam,
Yes, sir.
shut off.
Okay.
Say when.
Win.
Okay. Now they do have another tool. This is called the micro detailer. And when you use this, this is where you really got to be careful. It'll grab you. It's for getting into real tight places. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop this down a little bit. I'm going to sand this part right here. And by putting my finger back here, I'm getting it some support. So we'll go to
And then Burnett sandpaper, kind of like you were talking about the chucks, having to have all those chucks, how much money?
yeah.
The sandpaper seems high, but compared to how much it costs for other papers you have to replace
It's
all the
true.
time, it's really cheap.
I don't hardly replace this sandpaper often.
It's unbelievable. That work. You're the one that got me started using it.
And you know, when I first started using this, I didn't like it. I never liked it. You couldn't get me to get any. I couldn't buy it.
What didn't you like about it?
I don't know. I guess it just wasn't sandpaper to me. Weird. Okay, now what I'm going to do is you measure your hole. I measure this hole. And this hole I want is 5/8, but I want it a little bit over. I want to go out to 13/16. Take down a little bit more. See how I'm coming from the side? Get a better cut. I'll do that. So now, I want a nice tight fit. so five eighths. Take this down to about 5/8. Good. So now I want a little bit of a put a little bit of a taper. Okay. Now we'll cut it off. All right. And that's the bottom finial. And now we're going to do the top finial. Don't mind at all. Now I'm going to make this top finial. like that at all. No, it'd be too small.
Too small, okay.
Yep, it'd be too small. Almost the most important thing. Almost. Got to put a hole in it. Got to have something for the eye bolt. Okay. There we go. Now we can take it off. There we go. And there we go. There we have it.
Isn't that beautiful?
Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it home and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to laser on it.
So pretty.
And with number 1, yeah. There we have it. Now we have a Christmas ornament. All we got to do is put a hook on it, which I think I will. And I'm going to use the F1 X tool, laser, and we're going to laser a Merry Christmas on it. I want to thank everyone for coming. And I do have some classes coming up and some demonstrations coming up. I've got a class here in September coming up. We're going to be making flowers. And in October, we're going to be making a platter. And in November, we're going to be doing another Christmas ornament. This time, we're going to be doing a natural edge Christmas ornament. And let me, good. And go ahead and get that natural right there. These are the flowers that we're going to be doing, and a bud vase. This is a platter that we're going to be doing. And this is made out of cherry, but I'm going to we'll have some that's cherry and maple. And then in November, we're going to do our Christmas ornament this year, and it's going to be a natural edge. I want to thank you all for tuning in and having the same experience with me that we've had today. We've had some misfortunes, but we've learned from those misfortunes. We fix those misfortunes. And if you all like this, I hope you all will subscribe and like. And I'll see you on my next YouTube. Thank you and God bless.